Hi everyone, this is Paul here for the Magdalene Centre. Today I'm doing the astrology report for the week commencing the 7th of November, and I'll be outlining some of the key aspects and changes taking place this week and giving an overview of what it all means. Before I do that though, I just want to clarify, as I always do, that the astrology doesn't control our lives. It merely highlights what kind of lessons are available for us to learn from, kind of key areas of growth that can happen collectively at this time, providing we take advantage of it. And it kind of gives us a way to understand or give context of what's happening around us, so we can then respond to events rather than react, because we have a deeper understanding of why things are happening. Now, for the aspects this week is all about new beginnings as such. So we have the new moon in Scorpio on Wednesday itself, and then the following day Jupiter moves into Sagittarius for the first time in 12 years. So these two areas being new beginnings. We also have Sarah's changing signs on Monday, so she's highlighting a change in how we nurture ourselves and one another. With the moon's aspect, she begins in Scorpio, so this is when we may be feeling old emotions come to the surface, and it's an opportunity for us to develop emotional understanding of our deeper motivations for things, and old hurts may come up. On Thursday, the moon moves into Sagittarius, so this is a time of exploring new ideas, trying out ideas from different backgrounds to what we normally encounter, and it's being creative and playful with it and just having a bit of fun. So it's exploring the nature of truth and being more spontaneous with it. Before on Sunday, the moon moves into Capricorn, and this is a time for putting the new ideas, new insights into practice to achieve tangible results. It's about taking responsibility for how our lives are unfolding. So if we don't like how things are at the moment, we take responsibility to change it rather than expecting other people to do that. Before on Tuesday, she moves into Aquarius. This is a time for taking that step back, taking stock of our situation and observing what is our role within our communities, and potentially how can we better fulfill that role or embrace new ones to further enhance the health of the community. As I was saying before, the main events this week are the new moon and Jupiter changing signs. So the new moon is on Wednesday, and this brings us an opportunity to set new intentions in areas to dealing with Scorpio. This could be things like facing where we cling to an idea of powerlessness in order to justify victimhood. It's also being honest about where do we seek control or power over other people. But more importantly, it's looking at where do we hold on to wounds from the past that it's just creating an emotional baggage or an emotional weight within us that we need to let go of. So one of the key lessons of Scorpio is forgiveness, both for oneself and for other people. So if we have things that we've done that we're not proud of, it's forgiving ourselves. But equally, if we've done wrong to other people and we feel ready to try and atone for it, it's maybe an opportunity for us to reach out to the people in question and to apologise, provided it's done with a true desire for reconciliation and there's no hidden agenda behind it. It's about trying to make amendments for the past, or at least bring closure to the other persons, and so both parties can move on from the past, liberated from that, so that particular weight or hook is no longer present to weigh us down and limit the amount of growth we engage in. But I'll be doing another video on that, so there'll be much more detail about the new moon in that video. The next event I mentioned is Jupiter's moving in Sagittarius. So just to give some context, we need to look at what Jupiter and Scorpio has been about. This has been all about making the unconscious conscious. So whatever's being buried in our psyches, whatever has been kept hidden, our minds have been trying to repress, but actually causing problems. Jupiter and Scorpio has been bringing this to our attention. It's also bringing about a lot of polarisation, with the ultimate intention to raise collective vibration through purging the old and negative. But this necessarily means that any given aspect has to be polarised into its positive and negative sides, so we can then face and transform the negative pole and embrace the positive. So it's been a year about undergoing that rebirth, of dying to the old, letting go of the past and moving into the present moment, so we can then create a new future for ourselves, free of the weight of the past, free of old dynamics, and um, liberating gifts from the shadow that have been buried because of our reluctance to deal with shadow issues so far. Now with Jupiter moving into Sagittarius, Jupiter's now in his home sign, so he now has freedom to operate in his purest form, unencumbered by energies different to his core nature. So Jupiter in Sagittarius is an opportunity for us all to dream big. It's to look at the bigger picture and seek to expand our level of understanding of who we are beyond just the personal ego and out into the wider cosmos. So this is a year where we have an opportunity to search for new meaning in life, but it requires that we develop traits like optimism and faith, because for Jupiter to manifest positively, it requires that we learn to expect the best. If you've ever been to any of the meditation sessions or talking to Kay personally, this is something that she's always advising us. This particular transit really ramps this lesson home. It's that if we want things to change, if we want to grow and become the best versions of ourselves, then we need to overcome any negative thinking or any pessimistic worldview or narrow-mindedness and expand our minds to its greatest potential. Because the mind is like a parachute, it doesn't work if it isn't open. And with Jupiter in Sagittarius, this is a time for dreaming big. It's expanding our perceptions, it's moving beyond the intolerance that we've seen a lot of in the past few years, is moving beyond judgment or fanaticism, and instead it's embracing new truth. It's exploring truth in any form it comes to us and learning to embody it. So Sagittarius deals with the natural laws. It's learning these natural laws so that when we come into Capricorn, this Capricorn applies it, but we need to learn them first. So if we haven't already learned these laws, Jupiter in Sagittarius is a key time to learn them and start applying them, because it gives us that faith to expand beyond our current parameters, to try and push further than we've gone before, to dare to dream big and have that optimism and faith that even if we hit setbacks, we have that resilience and that energy or that enthusiasm to bounce back. I'll obviously do another video on this because there's a lot of detail I can go into here. This is just a snapshot because this is the week that this process begins and we continue up until the 2nd of December next year. So the last one I mentioned before is that Ceres is moving out of Libra and into Scorpio. So Ceres is about nurturing, it's about the mothering principle, if you like, and with Ceres in Scorpio, this is an opportunity. She works best to encourage his nurturing through deep and healthy emotional bonds with one another, and just by being a nurturing presence, the people around us can heal from that, because Scorpio has that powerful presence, it has that magnetism that radiates outwards, but it requires that we nurture ourselves first, that we become comfortable or learn to love and nurture ourselves, including the shadow side, so that it becomes integrated and elevating consciousness, so we become more empowered. And this better enables us to nurture the people around us, to, if they're going through a hard time, to be that rock of support, to be that healing presence, that words don't necessarily need to be spoken, just being present and giving that almost non-verbal communication with one another can be very healing in that respect, as long as it's done in a mutual way, so both parties seeking to help one another. But it only really works if we work on ourselves first. As with anything, if we don't do the work on ourselves, we can't give it to other people. We can't give what we don't have. So anytime a planet enters a new terrain, it's an opportunity for us to create this new lesson or learn this lesson and apply it on the inside, so we can then radiate it outwards to other people. And over time it gets deeper and deeper until we live in love and truth rather than engaging in fear and separation in that respect. So This week, as I said, is an opportunity for new beginnings, especially with the new moon in Scorpio, giving us opportunity to cut ties with our past and create space for new beginnings. And Jupiter moving into Sagittarius is very much along the same lines. It's time to move beyond doing the shadow work. It's time to start integrating all the different truths that we've learned about ourselves to achieve a more cohesive mindset that unifies rather than polarizes. So that's the useful guide for the week. As I said, the main things is embracing new beginnings and having the courage to face our own shadow, and also to start looking at the bigger picture, to move beyond the polarization that's been going on around us and start learning about how the unifying principles, the core truths or laws that underpin everything, and that if we live in alignment with them, unity naturally comes together without forcing any kind of uniformity on one another. It becomes that unity and diversity through honouring our own culture, if you like, but living by these higher principles that transcend culture, and living in alignment with them allows life to move more smoothly because we're engaging or living by the flow rather than trying to make things happen a certain way. So may this week bring you many new insights and many exciting new beginnings. Take care, may you be blessed.